let's spend a few minutes talking about the ribbon and the backstage. So first of all, we're going to enter into Word. And once we get into Word, what I have here is a document. Don't be concerned about what's the content of the document, just the fact that my cursor is flashing here in this paragraph, so I currently have text selected. Let's start off by talking about the ribbon. The ribbon is found at the top of the screen, and the ribbon has multiple tabs, like the File tab, Home, Insert, Design, Page Layout, so on and so forth. And each one of these tabs, when you select it, makes a ribbon visible for you, and within that ribbon or on that ribbon, what you're going to find are the command buttons. So let's take a look here at the Page Layout ribbon. I have my first group here referred to as Page Layout. Notice the little arrow here in the bottom right-hand corner. That's called a dialog box launcher. We'll come back to that in just a moment. We also have the Paragraph group, and at the bottom right-hand corner of the Paragraph group, the dialog box launcher, and then our last group is Arrange, but it doesn't have the little dialog box launcher because it's not necessary. All of the tools necessary for that group are found right there in the command buttons within the ribbon. Well, let's get back here to Paragraph, and let's go ahead and click on the dialog box launcher to see what we get. And what we get is a dialog box. That's why it's referred to as a dialog box launcher. And what you have in your dialog box is just an opportunity to talk to your computer. So this gives me some choices for setting up this particular tab as indents and spacings, or I can switch to the other tab and go to line and page breaks. So what you're going to find here, let me grab the title and drag this over just a bit. You might find some tools that are not available as command buttons within your ribbon. So you would simply adjust, do whatever it is you wanted to with this dialog box, and then say OK, and then that would establish whatever changes that you want. If you don't need the dialog box, you can hit Escape on your keyboard. You can choose Cancel or OK, or you could click the red X. I'm going to go ahead and click the red X. But that's what those little arrows, remember, dialog box launchers, that's what those are for, is to launch your dialog box. Well, remember, when you need a different tab, you simply click, and the tools are referred to as the command buttons. They're available for you. Let's talk a little bit, though, about something called contextual tabs. And when we have a contextual tab, it just means something shows up when it's needed. So remember, I had text selected within my document. Well, this is a picture. Let me go ahead and click on the picture. Now look what happens. I get a new Picture Tools tab, the Format tab. And so now I have the Format ribbon, and I have choices now for formatting my picture. As soon as I click back on text and I click off of the picture, now those particular contextual tabs are no longer needed, so they disappear. Let me do one more. At the bottom of the screen here, I have a table. Let me click inside of the table, and you'll notice now within my ribbon, I have Table Tools, and I have two tabs that show up. I have the Design tab that gives me great choices for working with the design of my table, and I have the Layout tab, which gives me multiple command buttons here for working within the layout of my table. So as you can see, as you work within your Word document, you may get additional tabs showing because the ribbon is allowing you to have all of the tools that you might need to work on whatever item that you need. Now let's talk about what happens when you accidentally or intentionally double click one of your tabs. So let me hit the Developer tab here. Just with a single click, it simply activates the Developer tab. But if I double click the Developer tab, it hides it. And that's just a temporary hide. If I click into my document, and now I say, well, I would like to work on the Home tab, and I say I'd like to make that bold, and then I click back into my document, you see how it hides it. So I've simply said, keep my tabs visible, but hide the ribbons. Make them available when I click a tab, but otherwise just hide them. Now if I want them to come back, just any one of the tabs, double click, and they activate again, and so now your tabs are going to be visible and available on your screen no matter what you do. And remember, that's simply with a double click of any one of the ribbon tabs. You also have at the top right hand corner of your screen, there's a little button here that looks like a window with an up arrow. This is the Ribbon Display Options button. When you click that button, you have what I just did, the Auto Hide ribbon. And what the Auto Hide ribbon does is it hides not just the ribbons, check that out, but everything. So you click the little three dots here and they come back. Or this is more what I just did. This is where we have just the tabs show up. And again, you can double click these to activate them, or you can click Show Tabs and Commands and they remain activated. So there's the button there in the top right-hand corner that gives you multiple choices. You can decide how you'd like for your ribbons and your tabs to appear on your screen, or you can use the double-click trick to just temporarily collapse and then double-click again to make them expand again. So those are our ribbons, and those are important things that you're going to want to know about the ribbon. And as you're working within your ribbons, you're going to find some great command buttons to work with. Now you'll notice that the File tab is a little different color. And the reason is the File tab is actually something referred to as the Backstage. Every other tab works within the document. It has something to do, a tool for the document. But when you click on File, let me go ahead and click File. Now you're working within Word. Now you're in the Backstage, it's referred to. And on the left-hand side, you have all of these choices for working within the Backstage. Now, you may or may not have Business Contact Manager. I have every Microsoft option installed, which includes Microsoft Business Contact Manager. So not to worry if you don't have that. You personally or your company just doesn't use it. But you should have everything else. So for instance, when you want a new document, you choose New. When you want to save the document as something else, you can choose Save As. So you're working within Word here, and you're not making changes to your document, except for possibly the name of your document or where it's stored. This is where you go to find print and so many other features. But it's referred to as the Backstage. So whenever you hear someone mention the Backstage, let me just escape to get out of it. Remember, the way you're going to enter the Backstage is simply click File, and simply clicking File enters the Backstage. So you would do whatever it is you need. For instance, you might want to work with your account. You simply go down to the Account button. You make the changes that you want. And to exit Backstage, I just showed you the Escape key on my keyboard, but you can also use this little arrow here at the top, and the arrow at the top exits out of the Backstage as well. So now, why do people use the Backstage? Because they want to work with Word. They actually want to work within the application. Why do they use the rest of the tabs? The rest of the tabs because they want to work within the document that they're currently working on. So now you should be able to utilize the ribbon anywhere in any way that you'd like to, and when you want to enter the Backstage, you now know that you simply click on the File tab here in the top left-hand corner, and you've entered your Backstage. It's time for a pop quiz question. How is the Backstage accessed? A, the Control and the B key. B, click the File tab. C, select Tools. D, all of the above. The proper answer is B. Click the File tab. And when you click the File tab, you're automatically in the Backstage.